This story begins with a young boy named Sambat Banchamek, better known as Thongdi. From a very young age, Thongdi's life was filled with challenges and hardships. One of the biggest struggles he faced daily was bullying by other children in his village. These children would gang up on him, leaving him no choice but to run away. However, no matter how hard he tried to escape, they would relentlessly chase after him. They even threw stones at him, leaving painful injuries all over his body. One day, while fleeing from these bullies, Thongdi found himself at a bustling market. At the far end of the market, he noticed a group of men and boys practicing martial arts. Intrigued and desperate, Thongdi approached their teacher, hoping to learn how to defend himself. His greatest motivation was the desire to stand up to the children who constantly tormented him. But despite his determination, the teacher explained that he couldn't accept Thongdi as a student. In their village, young children were not allowed to learn martial arts, as there was a fear they might misuse their skills. Only older boys and teenagers were permitted to train at the school. Before Thongdi could plead further, his father arrived and ordered him to leave the martial arts school immediately. His father strongly disapproved of Thongdi learning self-defense, fearing it would lead to violence or danger. He even took Thongdi to a monk, hoping the monk would discourage him. However, the monk surprised everyone by encouraging Thongdi to learn martial arts, as long as it was for self-defense and not to harm others. The next day, while playing near the temple, Thongdi was attacked once again by the village children. Among them was Churd, the spoiled son of a wealthy and influential nobleman. Frustrated and tired of being a victim, Thongdi decided to teach himself self-defense. Using simple tools he made on his own, he began practicing martial arts. Thongdi's determination and natural talent were remarkable. In just one day of practice, he managed to defeat the bullies, including Churd, who had always looked down on him. From that moment, Thongdi trained tirelessly to build his strength and refine his skills. His dedication to martial arts turned him into a skilled and powerful fighter. Years later, when Thongdi was a teenager, Churd and his group sought revenge for their past humiliation. They came armed with horses and sharp weapons, determined to defeat Thongdi. But Thongdi, now a fearless and strategic fighter, lured them into the forest. There, using his honed skills and quick thinking, he defeated them one by one, proving that his hard work and perseverance had made him unstoppable. Later, Churd returned home feeling furious and went straight to his father to complain about what Thongdi had done. However, instead of supporting him, Churd's father scolded him harshly. He was annoyed to hear that Churd had tried to attack Thongdi because he was a valuable mercenary for the village. Apparently, Thongdi's strength brought in significant money, especially for Churd's father, who warned Churd to stop bothering Thongdi or risk being thrown out of the house. As Thongdi's skills became well known, villagers often hired him to fight against challengers from other villages or martial arts schools. Every time Thongdi won a fight, his teacher and Churd's father, who gambled on his victories, earned large sums of money. Unlike other students forced to risk their lives in similar fights, Thongdi was seen as unbeatable, a guaranteed winner who had become a money-making machine. But everything changed when Thongdi faced Kru Hao, a highly skilled fighter from another village. Kru Hao was incredibly strong and quickly overwhelmed Thongdi. The battle ended with Thongdi unconscious, lying defeated. Disappointed by his loss, Thongdi's teacher and fellow students abandoned him by the river, showing no concern for his condition. Not long after, a drunken young man stumbled upon Thongdi and dragged him to the riverbank. When Thongdi regained consciousness, he immediately asked where his teacher and the others were. The man explained that they had all left him because he could no longer make money for them. Hearing this, Thongdi felt betrayed and deeply hurt by his teacher's greed. The man then bluntly told Thongdi that his fighting techniques were weak and lacked any special skills. He advised Thongdi to travel to other places to learn true martial arts, as the techniques he had been taught were not real. Motivated by these words, Thongdi set off on a journey to find a better martial arts school. After traveling a great distance, he reached a village where he discovered a martial arts school. Without hesitation, he asked the teacher for permission to train there. Curious about Thongdi's sudden arrival, the teacher questioned his identity and his reasons for coming. At that moment, Thongdi explained his desire to learn real martial arts techniques by traveling to different schools. Impressed by his determination, the teacher allowed Thongdi to train alongside other fighters. Thongdi's natural strength and skills quickly caught the teacher's attention. In just a few days, he managed to defeat several fighters at the school, earning the teacher's admiration. As a reward, the teacher decided to teach Thongdi a special technique that would give him an edge in future battles. One day, while one of Churd's men was shopping for food in the village, he spotted Thongdi practicing martial arts. The man immediately rushed back to inform Churd. The next day, Churd arrived at the school with his troops, demanding that the teacher hand over Thongdi. Not only that, Churd also threatened to burn down the entire village if his demands were not met. Hearing this, the teacher was furious at Churd's arrogance and refusal to respect the dignity of the school. The situation escalated when one of Churd's bodyguards threatened to kidnap the teacher's daughter. To prevent further chaos and protect the village, Thongdi made the difficult decision to surrender himself to Churd, sacrificing his freedom for the safety of the villagers. Churd then tied Thongdi's hands tightly and dragged him along using the horse he rode. Unable to fight back, Thongdi had no choice but to follow. However, when Churd's men began setting fire to the villagers' homes, Thongdi couldn't stand by and do nothing. He quickly untied himself from the horse and launched a sudden attack on Churd. With one swift move, Thongdi knocked Churd to the ground. Wasting no time, he then rushed to help the villagers fight off the attackers until all of them were defeated. Once again, Churd faced humiliation and fled the scene in defeat. After the fires were extinguished and peace returned to the village, Thongdi decided it was time to leave. He bid farewell to the teacher and students at the martial arts school. Thongdi realized that if he stayed, the village would continue to be targeted, so he chose to move on to protect everyone. Meanwhile, Churd returned home to face his father's wrath. Furious at Churd's failure to bring Thongdi back, his father scolded him for losing their most profitable fighter. Determined to regain his honor, Churd plotted revenge. He and his men planned to harm the villagers who had helped Thongdi and even considered kidnapping and killing them one by one in the forest. As Thongdi journeyed through the forest, a young man named Bunkith quietly followed him. Bunkith admired Thongdi's martial arts skills and wanted to join him on his travels to learn from him. The following day, Thongdi and Bunkith arrived at a village where an art performance was being held. Soon after, Bunkith approached a young manager named Ling Ling and asked if she needed extra help. Ling Ling introduced them to her father and explained that the two travelers were looking for work. Her father was hesitant at first, explaining that the earnings from their performances had been low. However, after learning that Thongdi and Bunkith were willing to work for a small fee, he agreed to let them join the show for the night. Later, the duo performed as actors in the show, earning just enough money to buy food. The next morning, Bunkith woke up to find that Thongdi had already left for the forest. At the same time, Churd and his men began their plan of terror. They attacked villagers and even ambushed a horse carriage carrying a young woman named Lim Young. By chance, Thongdi came across the scene and immediately intervened. He fought off Churd's men and saved Lim Young. Grateful for his help, Lim Young gave Thongdi a gold ring and her horse carriage as a token of appreciation before he continued his journey. Later, Thongdi arrived at a new village and inquired about the local martial arts schools. He learned that the school there was one of the most respected in the western region. Without delay, Thongdi sought out the teacher, hoping to be accepted as a student and continue his martial arts training. After observing Thongdi's impressive skills, the teacher welcomed him as a student and introduced him to Bunkith, who had already arrived at the village. Under the teacher's guidance, Thongdi began intensive training to sharpen his abilities and grow stronger. A few days into training, the teacher recognized Thongdi's immense potential. Believing in his talent, the teacher suggested that Thongdi participate in an intercollegiate fighting competition. Motivated to make his school proud, Thongdi devoted himself to rigorous daily practice, determined to win. On the day of the competition, Thongdi unexpectedly ran into Ling Ling and Lim Young, who were visiting the village. Their presence encouraged him even more as he prepared for the big event. As the competition began, the leaders of rival school looked down on Thongdi's teacher in school, mocking their capabilities. But when the battles unfolded, Thong Di proved them wrong. His strength and strategy turned the tide, defeating the best fighters and even the rival teachers. His performance not only silenced the skeptics but also brought great honor to his school. After the competition, Thong Di expressed his gratitude to his teacher, then set out to continue his journey in search of new martial arts techniques. This time, Thong Di was accompanied by Bunkith, Ling Ling, and a new companion, a young man who joined their group. Together, they traveled to another village, eager to learn more. In the third village, they encountered an old man who often appeared drunk but was a master of weaponry. Intrigued by his expertise, Thong Di and his friends offered him bottles of alcohol in exchange for lessons. The old man agreed, and under his guidance, they trained relentlessly to master the art of wielding swords and other weapons. After weeks of grueling practice, they finally perfected their weapon skills. As a reward for their hard work, the old man gifted each of them a weapon, a token of their achievement. Later, while traveling through the forest, their journey took a dangerous turn. Churd and his men ambushed them, leading to a fierce battle. Though Thong Di fought valiantly and managed to defeat the attackers, Bunkith sustained severe injuries. In the end, Churd fled the scene once again, leaving Thong Di and his companions to regroup and plan their next steps. Thong Di and his friends then hurried to take the injured Bunkith to a healer in a nearby village, hoping to save him in time. Along the way, a man named Ruong helped them find the healer, and Thong Di gratefully thanked him for his assistance. While waiting in the village, Thong Di unexpectedly ran into Lim Young. To his surprise, he discovered she was the daughter of Kru Hao, the skilled fighter who had once defeated him. Soon after, Kru Hao approached Thong Di and invited him to join an upcoming fighting competition organized by the king. Eager to prove himself, Thong Di accepted the offer and began preparing for the event, knowing he would face some of the most formidable fighters from other schools. When the day of the grand competition arrived, Thong Di and Kru Hao demonstrated their exceptional skills, defeating many strong opponents with ease. Eventually, the final match came down to Thong Di facing Kru Hao. The stakes were high, as the king himself had bet a large sum of money on Kru Hao's victory. Despite having been defeated by Kru Hao in the past, Thong Di refused to back down. With all the skills and techniques he had learned throughout his journey, he fought with determination and skill. In a fierce and thrilling duel, Thong Di ultimately emerged victorious, defeating Kru Hao in front of the crowd. The king, impressed by Thong Di's abilities and his victory over his top fighters, prepared to present the prizes. However, just as the ceremony began, a group of armed troops stormed the arena and launched an attack on the king. The leader of the group was none other than Ruong, the man who had earlier helped Thong Di. A chaotic battle broke out between the king's guards and Ruang's forces. The fight came to a halt when Ruong stepped forward and revealed his true identity. He was the rightful king. He explained that the current king was an imposter, a deceitful ruler who had exploited the fighting competitions for his personal gain. Ruang's revelation shocked everyone, and with the support of his loyal troops, he reclaimed the throne. Grateful for Thong Di's bravery and skill, Ruang appointed him as the royal warlord, entrusting him with the duty of protecting the kingdom. In the final scene, Thong Di returns to his home village accompanied by Lim Young. Together, they visit his mother, who has been waiting patiently for his return. So the moral of the story is life's like a non-stop martial arts tournament. Dodge the hits, learn the moves, and never trust a king who loves gambling. And don't forget, sometimes a good snack bribe can unlock secret skills.